Good afternoon. Welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. We're getting ready for the storm. Are you ready for the storm? Can you weather a storm like Granny did? That's the goal. So I sure do hope we're about to get some rain. Big thunderstorms are moving through. My luck, they will go around my farm just like they did yesterday. Maybe I should do what you say and go, some of y'all say, go wash your car, it'll rain. Maybe so, but whew, sweaty and yucky. I just got the barn put up. This is what a good shepherd does, y'all. When a storm is on the horizon, a good shepherd recognizes that, and they don't waste any time. They put their sheep up, they put their animals up, they get their family ready. This is why your grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother, however this goes for you, this is why they survived the Great Depression. If yours are or were anything like mine, they were so poor, they didn't even recognize they were in a Great Depression. They were already doing all of the things just to survive. Took a while for folks in Appalachia to realize that there really even was a Great Depression going on after 1929 because they were all so dirt poor already, living in log cabins and plowing the fields with mules and getting by day on one meal. That's what my family did. My Nana can tell you all about it. But this is how this conversation today between me and you is coming about. So I've been trying to catch up with some news articles. I took Miss Olive to the vet today. She's doing great, had her checkup, perfect health, great puppy. She did wonderful. Really, really, really pleased with how she did at the vet clinic. I'm a mess, y'all, I'm sorry. So I was reading some things and catching up with some things, and there's so much going on, guys. It's impossible to keep up with it anymore. And I think that the basic population, most people nowadays know things are going on. They know the economy's in the toilet. They know they should be doing things. Some people don't know what. A lot of people are not like necessarily me and you. And it's so overwhelming that I think a lot of people have just stopped and said, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And if I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. Well, I get it, but at the same time, that's the wrong attitude to have. But I do understand why people are overwhelmed. When you're seeing all of this data, all of these charts and all this financial stuff, I'm like you. Well, I got mud on me, but maybe you have mud. Do you have mud on you? But I get to a point, let me tell you what I do. When I start to get a little overwhelmed by all the things that we are seeing and all of the things that we are hearing and all the things that we are dreading, I bring it back to one simple point: preparedness. And I don't just keep it in the context of what I should be doing today. If you've watched my channel at all for the last 9 years, I am very, very fixed on trying to live the best life, mimicking, in a sense, in a modern way, what my great-great-grandmother did. What would she be telling me? What would she be telling you what to do in this modern era? Because, guys, we're on the edge of a big storm. They're kind of trying to tell you, isn't it cute? They're kind of trying to tell you that you're entering into a recession. Whatever, honey. We've been in a recession for months and months. Possibly a couple of years. I'm not going to argue that at all. You're not entering into the beginning stages of a recession. You're already there. If you're going deeper into the abyss, you are going into a depression. We have said this until we are blue in the face. Okay? The bottom line is, I want you to think about, what would your grandparents be telling you to do right now? Don't turn on Fox Business. Don't turn on 14,000 YouTube channels. Don't go to the newspaper. Don't ask your best friend. I want you to sit down with a glass of tea and think about it. Pray about it. I would be willing to bet you a beautiful, fresh donut from Krispy Kreme right now that they're going to be telling you, your mama and papa would be telling you, you better get your house in order. all of these details of all this minutia stuff, of all these things that they're distracting you with, distracting us with, in the end, doesn't mean anything in terms of you surviving. Yes, there are things going on that you have to make choices about or on in terms of your convictions. But the big picture, the economy, war, inflation, depression, you have to eat and breathe. I have to eat and breathe. How are you going to ensure that you're going to be doing that going forward? How are you going to ensure that your children do that? This is where you're falling back on. Push away the distractions, whatever. This is exactly what I'm going to be doing right now. That's right, right now. Right now, today. Let's go over the very basics, guys. Don't get caught up in all this minutia that's floating around right now. Recognize it for what it is. Make your moral stands. Stick with your convictions, but get back to the basics. Don't get caught up in having to read 75,000 financial reports. Guys, it doesn't matter that we are knee deep in trench warfare right now, just trying to survive all the things that are floating around us right now. A lot of people don't recognize that, but that's where we are. That's what we are in. And when it all decides to hit, and you're not going to get a warning. I mean, do you really think like you're going to get a warning? I mean, they've lied to you for the last 2 years about a recession. You think they're going to tell you the truth now? They've lied to you and to me about a lot of stuff over the last 3 years. You think they're going to tell you the truth now? Why would you ever think different? This is where you come back and go, if I had a 5-minute conversation with my great-grandmother who survived the Great Depression herself as an adult, what are the things that she did and what would she be telling me to do right now? I bet you a donut she'd be telling you to be as debt-free as possible. I bet you a donut she would tell you that if you've got a job, you better be keeping it as best you can and working it as hard as you can, maybe pick up another one, depending on what you do. I do believe she would tell you to have your pantry as full as a tick, any which way and however you need to do it. What about your medicine cabinet? What about your pet needs? What about special needs for your children? Do you have cash in your house, somewhere safe, that if something were to happen that you could operate with for a time period? You pick it, 2 days, 5 days, 6 months, I don't care. You get to decide that number, not me. But do you have it? We're all standing around looking at each other. That's not what needs to be happening. Everybody should be super, super busy. And I know this crowd is, but every now and then we get new faces, right? And people that ask questions and say, what do I need to be doing? Do I need to go buy a milk cow today? No, you don't. If you don't have your finances in order, if you don't have cash put away, if you don't have 6 months to a year of basic food and necessities put away for your family, no, you don't need to be going and buying a dairy cow. You don't. I mean, I would tell that to my own kid, okay? You've got to have your basics lined up. Your security for yourself and your home lined up. Do you have ways to, if you do have a garden and you get a little bumper crop this year, I don't know if we're going to, because we're standing around waiting on rain just like Kansas and everybody else out there. We are having a tough time right now here in certain places of Southeast Tennessee. We haven't had the first drop. I'm sitting here praying for this to just fall on my head right now with rain. My point is, what if my garden, remember how I said I wasn't sure it was going to be a good year this year? We're going to see, aren't we? I went ahead and stuck my neck out and have worked my hind end off, and took me hours today to water and prep and do all the things that I'm doing in my garden. But there's no guarantees. But you know what? I've got some green beans on the shelf. Do you? So when you get caught up in feeling overwhelmed or in all this minutia and all of these things that are distractions, or if you're seeing all these different channels and all these different statistics and news reports and all this, and you're like, well, they're saying this, but they're saying that. What is your gut telling you? What would Granny tell you? The reality is a lot of people that haven't done anything don't realize what all it takes to do stuff to be prepared. The mindset of your mindset changes. Your whole being changes. This is not something that you just do for 1 or 2 days and go, oh, well, I guess if the world crashes, I've got granola bars. That's not how this works. It's the long game. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change. You don't just say, oh, I'm going to go buy me 5 acres and get a milk cow and I'm going to survive. It doesn't work like that. I'm so sorry to tell you. That's a myth. That's a fable. That's a fairy tale. That's Disney World. No. So I'm telling you right now, regardless of what stage that you are in terms of preparedness and how awake you are with everything going on, anytime you're overwhelmed or you're unsure, rewind it back, baby. Come on back. Come on downtown, back to the beginning, and start going over the basics that you know only Granny would talk about. Your skill sets will come along the way. You will get to pick and choose what skill sets you want. But what you do not get to decide is how bad this and how quick this could happen. And you need to make sure, just like everyone else, me too, is constantly saying, do I have basic food? Do I have basic medicine? Do I have water? What if the lights go out? Do I have a way to protect myself? Do I have extra this or that? What are those basic things? What did Granny do? Now somebody's going to say, well, you can't compare 1930, 31 Appalachia to today. You're right. They were already set up. In my case, my grandparents, they didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Heck, they didn't even have 2 pine cones to rub together. They lived off the land. They worked in the marble quarries. They were farmhands. To today's standard, they were extremely uneducated, but they could work circles around you, and they could outlive anything. They could train men how to go to war. That's right, because they were so skilled in certain tools and certain aspects of life. That's what they did, because that's what a lot of the men particularly had to do in Appalachia. They could run a team of mules. They could skin whatever they caught. They could drag it home. Are you as equipped as that? Are you as skilled as that? I'm working on it as much as possible every day. But like I said, that comes with time. This is a lifestyle. Where are you on your basic preps? Fox Business is not going to tell you to run out and buy extra beanie weenies today, but I am. I'm not telling you to go pull all your cash out of the bank, but I am saying you better make sure that you've got something that you can operate with in your home in case they don't let you pull your money from the bank. Now, what kind of day is that going to be? So don't question it. Think about the very basics that your grandmother endured and the things that she would tell you to do. Granny's not going to steer you wrong. You know why? Because if your granny was like my granny, the number one voice that she listened to was the voice of God. And she made it all right and raised a lot of kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids, and great-great-grandbabies. Right? That's how they made it. Sit down this evening, pour yourself a glass of tea, go over the basics in your mind and get those things together as much and as quick as possible. All these other distractions, that's all they are. That's the devil working. Stay focused. All right, guys, I got a break. My husband's home with feed. We got to get all this stuff up. Praying for rain still in Southeast Tennessee. Like, subscribe, and share. More videos coming your way. Stay safe. Keep praying. Pray hard. And we'll see you on the next video. Hey, are you ready for supper? Guys, you got to head back. It's going to thunderstorm. Okay, y'all ready? You hungry? Oh, okay.